Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Oh my God. If you're watching me live, let me know. Drop me a hey in the comments. Tell me what platform you're watching on. We're broadcasting across Facebook and YouTube currently. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Heidi Mavir. I am the founder of EOTAS Matters and EHCP Matters. I'm also the author of Your Child Is Not Broken. And one of the things that I try to do is to put interesting people in front of you. So as part of our Changemaker series, we are chatting with people who are making waves, making a difference, doing exciting things, doing awesome stuff in the SEND space, in the mental health space, in the wellbeing space. So I'm bringing my friend Rowan to meet you today. And Rowan is joining us from, I think, their bedroom. Are you in your bedroom?
Yeah, of
All the
course.
glamour. All the glamour. So, just while I'm sharing this into my Facebook group, tell me a little bit about you and your background. That's probably as good a place to start as any.
hmm I basically was looking after children from the age of 12 onwards. So lots of childcare stuff happened. I went to be an au pair in Italy. I taught children to speak English in Indonesia, and then I came back and trained up to do education and community studies, and became a primary school teacher for a short period of my life. I think my PDA objected a lot, later realised it. And I had my first child, and I stopped. And I was doing nannying and teaching part-time for a while, and then I stopped and became a childminder. And so I could be home with my eldest. He had medical stuff, mainly asthma and allergies. So that's why I originally stopped the teaching. And then, yeah, then what's next? I did childminder for many years, early years stuff. I ran lots of different groups, created different groups for a STEM group and things like that. And then my eldest turned 10, 11, and secondary school happened, and he had a big burnout, which we didn't realise was an autistic burnout until that point. So yeah, then I sort of changed and started supporting parents. And then I started to do listening groups for parents, especially over the lockdown period. I did listening space for parents of any parents at that point, just to support parents in a kind of non-judgmental way. And yeah, I just carried on from there, supporting parents, and then found out more about my neurodivergence. So now I support mostly parents, families that are neurodivergent. There.
So you
Yeah,
are like
I'm
historically an education professional, and then later discovered through what happens to a lot of us through our own children's discovery of neurodivergence. We then realised that that apple didn't fall far from that tree.
yeah, yeah, diagnosed with ADHD and autism at age 42. Yeah, so
Yay!
both my children are autistic, and one has identified as a demand avoidant profile, and the other, basically all of us are PDA there.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
And are
And
your children in school now, or what's the situation with you?
my eldest has just turned 16, and he's been out of school for 5 years, since year 7. He spent 6 weeks not managing in secondary school, and then now he's just in this last year. I only just last year applied for an education healthcare plan. I'm trying to think when I watched it. So yeah, now he's got an EOTAS package, thanks to the lovely Marble Run.
Yay!
He has got one. I'm still waiting for it to be formally written, which seems to be taking a little while. So he's got that. So he's going to have some home. So he did try tutoring at some points, but it's been hard. He doesn't leave the house that much. So he's there. And my youngest, yeah, I was still trying to get an EOTAS package at the moment. He's got a specialist provision from September currently.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So quite a lot of changes at your end then. Quite a lot going
Basically,
on.
my kids have been at home with me for years, mostly. That's basically the story.
That's it. It's always a bit, we're just heading into a big transition as well. And it's always a lot to get your head around when things are kind of going to shift and change. And we know that for a lot of us who are neurodivergent, that in itself can be a challenge, right? But
Mm-hmm.
good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about Calm Connect then. What
Yeah,
do you do through Calm Connect? Because this is kind of like your
yeah,
thing now.
yeah. So as I said, I started with kind of listening spaces, which were just safe space for sharing. I came across some kind of more connection, attachment, parenting stuff, which I took away to into the parenting spaces of just basically the non-judgmental part of it, the knowing everyone is basically everyone's trying their best, parents, children, carers, whoever it may be, everyone is trying their utmost. So I think that's where my kind of that's why I was able to be much more compassionate with myself and kind of stop the cycles of the kind of shame um, and guilt around how I behaved with my children when I didn't really know what was going on and things were difficult at points. So from there, I created this Calm Connect, and it's sort of evolving all the time. I feel like because my knowledge changes and what I want to do changes, but the gist of it is just that instead of just saying I'm supporting parents of, I now like sort of saying I'm supporting parents who may also be neurodivergent themselves, as you know, as we all know. That's kind of where I am at. So, and the focus on my support really is about the parents. So taking it away from what we initially sometimes feel at the beginning is about our children and bringing it back to what you know as well, like what you do as well, is bringing it back to ourselves and kind of having that space for us to really like take care of ourselves and meet our own needs. And as we know, when we've got children that are have lots of needs or are very sensitive and have lots of needs, then we really need to do that. And it's
Yeah.
not that easy to do because often our lives are really full with, well, energy wise, our lives are full, capacity is gone. Um, so creating kind of spaces, which I mean, there are many of them out there, but creating those kind of really safe spaces where we are able to, process what goes on, have, just have a space to laugh, cry, don't know, whatever you want to do really. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a spoken thing. It can just be a kind of feeling thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I really want to do. So, and they're trying to trauma informed, neuroaffirming, trying to be as
So
inclusive as
important.
possible. Yeah.
And you've done that like in person and online? Are you doing it? You're doing it in person and now you're doing it more online? What does that look like at the moment?
Um, Okay, so I started off doing online when we were in the lockdown period. I then became part of a community, local community groups, applied for funding, got funding, and did local groups, yeah, where I am in Southeast London in Greenwich. Um, so I've done local in different neighbourhoods. I ran different groups that were kind of part of it was called Community Champions at that point in London. So I was part of that. And so they were quite small, intimate groups, to be honest. It was just the way they needed to be. It was normally like 6 people max. So we were just really getting to kind of feel safe in that space. And I could be more bespoke to what everyone's kind of things, what was coming up for them. So that's that's what I was doing more of. And now I'm kind of transferring back into wanting to kind of have a platform, have a group, have a support space online as well, so that all different people can access it from
Yeah.
wherever.
What things do you find come up for parents? Like what is there some common stuff that come up in conversations?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it is the stuff, which you talk about in your book. Really, is lots of it is kind of a lot of it is kind of the isolation, the kind of isolation that parents feel, the feeling that their children and them don't really fit in, because as soon as you know about your child, you have to change the way you parent. So the kind of challenges of ourselves changing doing reframes for ourselves, that's kind of a big challenge because there's a lot of backlog of years of being part of kind of more traditional, parenting. Even if you weren't ever thinking that you wanted to parent in that way, you're surrounded by it. So it's kind of breaking a lot of breaking that kind of mold of what parenting needs to look like.
Yeah.
And so I think stuff around that comes up because often parents really want to do what's right for their children, but at the same time they're either getting clashes from partners, family, schools, professionals, you know, Joe Blogs, anybody basically can judge your child and yourself when you are. So you're vulnerable, you're isolated because you can't always reach out because places don't feel safe for yourself, even and your child. And so I think a lot of it's around isolation, really.
Yeah. Yeah, really important. Like Jen's saying, 100% couldn't agree more. Definitely at capacity, a support space online sounds amazing. I think when we're parents and carers, we sometimes are so swamped by the things we've got to do, like, the admin, the EHCP stuff, the talking to the Senko, the lodging complaints, the doing all of that stuff. And whilst that stuff has its place, and like that's what I do, so of course that
Yeah,
is something that I'm passionate about. But in amongst that, it's really easy to lose yourself, right? And you need places where maybe you're not having conversations about what we're going to do. We're having conversations about how things are and how we're being and what's coming up for us, like personally, because you can't function, you can't be like effective, you can't do things if in the middle of it you're just drowning in feeling
mm-hmm.
like crud, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
what you do. That's
yeah.
what you hold space for. It's so important.
So a lot of it is this listening partnership I spoke about is about that kind of creating capacity by having we do it to our friends, we do it to lots of different people. We offload or we yeah overshare or we info dump or whatever, but we do but what we do is we're trying to process and offload some of what we've got inside us. And so when we do that in a kind of really safe space, it leaves us with more capacity for our children. So there's a
Mhm.
softness and a gentleness, which is some of the different parenting spaces I've been part of, that and now I'm creating my own, is that offload leaves us with, we feel it, we can feel it in our bodies, we can feel when we've really been listened to and we've really been validated, we've really been heard, and we're really held. It's not actually that complicated. Doesn't have to be in a therapy. We can do that to ourselves. So between two people, two parents, they can just provide that kind of warmth that we all need to feel kind of just accepted as we are. So these things are really important, and even more so, I would say, if you're a neurodivergent family.
Yeah. And it's a different dynamic, I think, as well. Like there's something about when the intention is to be in a space where the priority is to listen and to validate, that's a very different energy to where the priority is to find solutions and fix things, which has its place. But I think there's even like there is a difference. I've found there's a difference between when I've been to like listening circles or places where the intention has been we're going to show up, we're going to listen, we're going to validate, we're not going to interrupt, we're not going to, I mean, like we are all going to talk over each other because we're all neurodivergent as heck, but we're going to come from a place of you bring what you bring and we hold space for it, versus I think sometimes when you're speaking to friends and loved ones, because they care, they want to help you find solutions and they want to help you. There's a bit of that fix it energy, that like rush to solve things. And sometimes you just need to be able to, like you say, dump the stuff and have people go, oh, that's a lot of stuff. Like there's value in that in and of itself, right?
Absolutely. And also when we do that, it's like often we just need space, and that kind of being held in that kind of capacity. We can think of things ourselves. We know what we need to do, or often we know what we need to do. We don't always, obviously, I'm not talking EOTAS, but I'm talking, for ourselves and our child. We know what we need to do for that relationship. We know how to, we know how to connect with them. We know how to be with them. We don't really need telling how to do it when we feel that our needs are met. So
Yeah.
it comes easily then. It comes more easily then. And
Yeah.
also then you can take small steps, so then we can do little reframes or little kind of suggestions on how you might want to change that up. Is there something that's a bit stuck? Then there is ways that then I can definitely, in the group, we definitely can do that as well. It's not just this, but this is what I realized for myself was that I know all sorts of amazing information about how to parent my child. I know huge amounts of stuff. I could write reams and reams. I could talk about it forever, all the things we could do. But if I'm not looking after myself, it means nothing. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do anything.
It's the putting the oxygen mask on part of the put your oxygen mask on before you put it on for
Yeah,
other people. And we say it all the time.
yeah,
And sometimes we don't really talk about what that means and what that looks like. And that looks like finding places where it's safe
mm-hmm.
to talk about things, to share things, to ask for validation and support and for time to process things. And when
Yeah,
we're all running at 500 miles an hour, there's definitely value in like having a minute of what if
yeah,
we just took a second.
yeah, and especially in the kind of neurodivergent, like even the positive spaces that we can go in to look for help for our children. When I first started looking at spaces like that, I felt very much judged as a parent because there was very much like, well, your child has this, so obviously you should be able to understand it. But if I can't work out what I've got going on all these years that have gone past, that I've not been able to have someone else going, oh yes, Rowan, I can see that you need me to do this right now, or
Yeah.
oh yes, I really know that you needed this, and oh, I'm right here to help you do this must be really difficult. I mean, I had some of it, but not the explicit, I'm here to help you meet your needs. Like, what is it you really need? So we have to do that for ourselves. And that's why I'm also I have to slow down to remember what I'm saying. I'm also an inner child practitioner, inner child journey practitioner, because I found the inner child stuff really of value. So it's like a way of just coming to support that little self, that our little selves that are always in there, especially in moments that we are not feeling safe and therefore reactive, or those places where we, raise our voice or just our bodies don't feel okay. Then it's coming in and kind of, I do the kind of inner child stuff, which is like, what did your little self really need and things like that. So yeah.
I was listening to a podcast this morning and they were talking about um, adult relationships with your parents when you're an adult. And they were basically saying, once you are an adult, the parenting isn't done by your parent anymore. You become your own parent.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
your job as an adult is to parent the child within you
Yeah,
in the way that you needed and need to be parented going forward. And that's not to say you won't have relationships with your own parents, but the work is
yeah.
work.
Your inner parents, like when you reparent, which is another term for what you're talking about, you reparent yourself, then you literally get to give yourself exactly what you need, and you know what you need, so it's quite easy really to say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, right now I really need this. So yeah, it's not about our parents, it's not that they did wrong, they were not aware, they didn't know what they didn't know, and we don't know and what we don't know when we parent our children. So it's never a kind of really judgmental place, but I think most of us do need space to really feel into that,
Yeah.
to change it up.
Especially those of us who were unrecognized neurodivergent kids.
Hmm. And
Because
great masters in the world.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Sharon's saying, I found a couple of great in-person support groups as well as this fab online community, and they're vital. But the summer holidays can feel so isolating because they all stop.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you're getting ready to roll out is that you've got an online group that you're making, and people can come and find you by finding you on the socials. Can you talk a little bit about the group and what you intend to do in there?
Hmm. So I guess I'm going to hold space for listening. So listening is going to be part of it because that's one of my key things. I'm going to hold space for having other professionals, having other people in the space that can come and talk about what they do as well. So before, when I've done it in person, I've had like a play therapist and a counsellor, but yeah. counsellor, kind of breathing stuff, all the stuff we know, but like in a space where we're all kind of doing it together. So there's a community, so creating that community to support each other. So having bringing in different professionals and doing our own kind of listening spaces is mainly what I'm thinking at the moment.
Amazing.
It'll probably evolve with whoever joins us and whatever ideas.
Of course it will.
Yeah.
And that Facebook community, you're nearly ready to let people in, right? You're like getting ready to, which I can't wait for. I think it's so vital. I think there's no right or wrong way to approach these things. And one of the things when I started doing the Changemaker series, people were like, why do you keep putting people in front of your audience who are like your competition? And I was like, well, first of all, there's no such thing as competition, it's collaboration.
Yeah.
But also, you need to be able to look around and see what's out there for you, to work out what's the right fit for you. And as much as anything else, it's about energy and dynamics and personalities, right? So it would be like disingenuous and egotistical of me to think that I can serve every single person. And like having spent time with you, like in person, we've been in the same room at the same time, which is quite rare, because there are lots of people who I work with that's never happened with. But like your energy is so calming, so like gentle, and like even just talking to you now, as we're talking, I can tell that I'm speaking more slowly, and it's just your influence. I can, like, you have such a beautiful calming energy, and we definitely need more of that in our community, because we have lots of very busy spaces where everyone's got lots of opinions and lots of solutions, and that's great. But like you say, in the middle of all of that, where are you getting your own needs met? Where are you nourishing your soul? Where are you taking care of yourself? Yeah. And I'm excited that that's what this space could potentially do for people. I'm really pleased you're doing it. I
have to like put a little heads up that I do often bring oracle cards and random things like crystals into the mix, but it's not really like a completely that way, but I just have to.
I love it. A little bit of woo. Now wrong with a bit of woo. Jen is saying, I don't know if you'll be able to see all of this. She says, oh my God, yes, I'm drowning in a sea of what needs to be done. The focus is always on how to fix our son. Yeah, he is exactly who he is supposed to be. He's happy, and that's all we want. He's amazing, but it doesn't mean his care needs aren't overwhelming sometimes, or that navigating the systems in place isn't really incredibly hard. We all need some headspace to cope. Yeah. She also says we're both amazing humans. Thank you, Jen. Oh. No, you're right. We all need more of that. We all need a lot more of that. So if people want to come and find you, tell people where you hang out.
All right. Well, this is all quite new, but yes. Okay. So I am Calm Connect with Rowan on Instagram and on TikTok, which is really bizarre because it's never a space I explored until recently.
I quite like TikTok.
I didn't know I was going to. But anyway, yeah, I'm just starting. My videos are not, anything yet. I'm working on it, people. So, hold space for me while I'm learning that part of it. But if you want to join my group, it will be up and running in the next few weeks. So I can put that I'll put that on my socials. I've also got my, it's here, but it's not going to come up right. So this is the front page of my guide. It's a guide for overwhelmed neurodivergent parent carers from nowhere to daily care. So
I love that.
It's working. It's nearly done. Not quite.
And so if people want to get hold of that, they should come and follow you on socials. You have a website, which I know that you want to update a bit, but you do have a website. So and we will make sure that we are sharing you out everywhere that we can. People can come and find you on Facebook and Instagram. But if you're watching this and you think I need a bit more of Rowan in my life, and frankly, who doesn't, go and find Calm Connect with Rowan on whatever is your preferred platform. I think Rowan is also hangs out in some of our groups. So if you need to find them there, you can do that. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for what you've got coming up. And I thank you in advance for this lovely work that you're doing, because I'm all about I'm here for the woo. I am here for the woo.
I've got them nearby. I'll give you one. I'll send you one later. You can
God, yeah, please do.
Your card.
Yeah, pull me a card. I need one today. I'm having I'm having a week of a day, if I'm honest. Sharon says
Mhm.
it sounds like a fab space. And she also says she'd never joined TikTok, but now I love it. I love a bit of TikTok. I love that, like, I don't know if you are in this category, but I definitely am. The middle-aged women are taking over TikTok. We're like, oh, we'll have a bit of that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've enjoyed listening to Rowan, and you think that well, I don't know why you wouldn't want more Rowan in your life. Please go and find Rowan. Search for Calm Connect on whatever social you're on. Look out for them in our groups. Thank you for being with me this afternoon. It's been really lovely to spend some
Thanks for
time
having
with
me here. I can't believe I'm in your Changemaker series.
you. Well,
I've loved watching it. It's
does what
amazing.
it says on the tin. You're going to change things for people. You're making a difference. I'm really pleased that you're here.
Yeah,
So
thank
stay
you.
on. We'll say goodbye in a minute. But for those people joining us and watching us live and who are watching on the replay, thanks for being with us. And we will see you all soon.
Bye.